I'd like to welcome you to the business meeting of the Canyons Board of Education. Today is April 19th, 2021, and we're meeting at the district office located at 9361 South, 300 East in Sandy, Utah. And just to note on the record that following this meeting, which will adjourn at 7 o'clock p.m. and then at 7:30 p.m., we will be celebrating our Teacher of the Year at a recognition event at Hillcrest High School. And we look forward to that. Also, for the record, Mrs. Clarine Arnold and Mr. Steve Wrigley are excused from the meeting this evening. So the first item for the business meeting is to approve the agenda for this evening. I will ask for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for today, April 19th, 2021.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I will second it.
Thank you. Any discussion to the motion? Oh, thank you for that correction. I was just reading it.
Agenda.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, tonight's meeting is April 19th, 2022. And we have a motion.
Not go back in time.
we have a motion to approve the agenda, and that motion has been seconded, and I don't see any discussion to the motion, so I will call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Okay, this evening we do not have any patrons that have signed up to address the board. So then we will move now to the consent agenda item. And with that, I will ask for a motion, and please, in making the motion, please list each of the items that are on the consent agenda.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, including item A, approval of minutes for March 29th, 2022. Item B, approval of hire and termination reports. Item C, approval of purchasing bids. Item D, approval of student overnight travel. Item E, approval of March financial reports. And item F, approval of 1 portable classroom to Silver Mesa Elementary and 4 portable classrooms to the new Diamond Ridge location and 3 portable classrooms to the Crescent View building.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I will second it.
Thank you. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. Next, under new business, item 6A, approval of strategic vision plan. This is action requested. I will turn the time over to Superintendent Robbins.
Thank you, President T. I won't take long on this. Just a couple of things that I wanted to say is, first off, express my appreciation and just tremendous joy that here we are considering this after a long year of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that's been poured into this document. And I want to also express appreciation to our entire school community, parents, teachers, staff, students, all the administrative team. So many people have put so much work and effort into this. Drew Shantz from Ed Elements is here with us tonight too to show their support. But what an amazing celebration of the district's history and past and foundation for success, but also looking forward and really being part of this process and really creating this North Star to build on all of the success the district's been founded on and built on, but moving us forward. And really, in my mind, it takes all of those strengths and gives us the ability to address all of the contemporary issues that we face and will face. So I'm so proud that we're here tonight, and excited to see the board consider this for action as we adopt it and get this off the runway. So thank you.
Thank you. Board, any questions or discussion on this? Mrs. Nybar?
I am so excited that we're moving forward with this and for how much vision and inspiration is included in this document. I just briefly wanted to, Dr. Robbins, if you don't mind just taking a moment. We met earlier looking at some really exciting things with what's happening with some professional development. I met with a group of parents and just wanted to, if you wouldn't mind just expressing what we had talked about, that there is room within this strategic initiative under the high quality learning to deliver some tangible professional development for some of those amazing folks that spend a lot of time with our kids because of their passion for whatever, coaching they're doing.
So earlier this week, Sally Williams, who's our instructional coach that works with athletic directors and PE teachers and health teachers, reached out to me about how she can better support these professionals. And interestingly, in her presentation to me, she talked about those competencies that are built into the strategic plan and how those really can be a foundation for training for our coaches and going forward, and how we provide that. And so I met with her and Bob in my office for a while, and Jesse, to just talk about how we can fully integrate the strategic plan into professional development, not only for all of our teachers, but for our coaches and advisors too. So I thought it was a very productive meeting. So
I just wanted to thank you so much for the diligence in having that meeting and for your attention to that and meeting the needs of that the parents have expressed. So thank you so much. I had one other question, but I'll let other board members go first. Thank you.
Other comments or questions or thoughts? Mrs. Oakes?
I want to express my thanks to the superintendent, everyone who's been involved. Gosh, I look at everybody. You guys all had a part on how this document came out. And I am so grateful for the public input, for the administrative input, for teachers. I feel like it represents a lot of hard work and a lot of dreams and aspirations of what we hope to see happen within the next decade for our kids and those that come after them. I kind of mentioned this to Dr. Robbins just as a little bit of feedback. I caught a slight typo on the last page, and I'm also hoping for maybe a different photo for the operating systems piece. But other than that, it looks vastly improved, and I am so excited to see where this goes. I have a very deep passion for hands-on learning, for arts integration, for the opportunity for kids to learn deeply and joyfully. And I feel like this strategic vision really offers that opportunity and that chance for us to be able to embed those things in our kids' learning, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade. So thank you, everybody. I know this is going to be a heavy lift moving this forward, but I'm looking forward to working with everyone and being able to see that happen. So.
Thank you. Other comments? Oh, Mrs. Schill and then Mrs. Nybar.
So I just want to add my thanks to everyone who's worked on this, the parents, the teachers, administrators, also Ed Elements. And this, just like Amanda has said, is just really exciting. I've been asking for a strategic plan, and I won't say since I got on the board because it was a few years after, but for a long time. I've been a board member for 7 years, so it's maybe 5 years. Anyway, so I'm just really excited to finally have this and excited to see where this is going to go from here. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Nybar.
Thank you so much. Again, as I make this comment, I just want to communicate how thrilled I am with the success criteria strategic initiatives we have under all of these different spheres and how important they are. And I did want to make mention, This is fantastic, and I really look forward to us implementing it on the ground level. And I did have discussion with Susan Edwards, and I think she circled back with Alice Peck, who helps so much with the land trust goals. But talking about in the future, moving some training to the SCCs regarding this technology, engineering, arts, integration, cross-curriculum, hands-on learning, and making sure that the SCCs are also aware that this is a big initiative the board has when they're looking at developing their academic plans for expenditures, to make sure that we are looking at academic plans that help us get there with that goal in mind. And so I'm looking forward to that, and just have a final question for our president as far as how do you see moving forward, putting this into motion? I wanted you to talk on that. Thanks.
Oh, okay. And I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't know if anyone else has comments. No. Yeah, let's hear from superintendent first, and then I'll.
So
I'll
I think,
respond.
at least on the administration side, the first step would be, we'll be having a meeting as a cabinet and administrative team coming up in May. And what I'd like to do is really unpack it with them and try to prioritize, the best that we can on the administration side, and then bring those recommendations to the board in the roundtable discussion. And then ultimately the board you would set those priorities at that point. That's my recommendation to the board. It's your purview to set those however you want, but just time wise, that's what I would see.
And I think that would be really helpful for when the board does its own unpacking, right? And taking a look at it at the round table, to have that information from the administration on what they see, so that we can consider all of that. And I'll just kind of add my comment. So anyway, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you so much. Both the recommendation and the president. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. So anyway, I just, I'm excited too, and grateful for everyone that has participated on this. And as you look at this document, for me, it's not the beginning, nor is it the end, right? This is just a point in time that represents all the work that went into creating this document, which also incorporates 12 years of Canyons District values and vision and mission as part of this. But then it's also so forward looking, that this is going to, as the district moves forward with various proposals and initiatives and priorities, that will tie back into this. And this gives the guidance, it gives the structure. It doesn't give the detail. And that's for not only this board, but future boards and future educators in the district to work within that guidance. And it's also something that, as we move forward, if we see something that, oh, you know what, let's add this, or maybe this one we've accomplished, and let's, put in a new priority, so that it can become a loop of continuous improvement and continuous growth for the district and continuous investment. I mean, we all know that leaders and board members, we all come and go, and educators, we come and go, but if this can be something that will help with continuity, so that the essential values and vision of Canyons District can be maintained over time, then it's going to bring some pretty amazing things to the children and the families in our community and in the schools of Canyons District. So I'm very excited about this, and very grateful for the amount of work that was put into this. I mean, I don't think we can even quantify how much time was spent, how much energy and thought has been put into this by so many people, parents, members of the public, students, teachers, staff, administrators, our consultant friends at Ed Elements. And I just feel like all of that investment is going to pay out many, many, many times over in the future. And I'm very excited for that. So with that though, I would like to, I see Drew back there on the back row, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you ahead of time, but would you like to offer any comments or thoughts for us? Go ahead, come forward.
Oh, there we go. This is my first time. Not my first time in this room though. Spent a lot of time in this room. But yeah, the plan is yours now. So I'm just excited to cheer you on, to celebrate all the successes that are going to come your way, and to really see this vision unfold for this district. It's very forward thinking. It's very it's ambitious though. And so what the real task is now, like you said, it's not the end, not the beginning, but a point in time and a really exciting jumping off point for the work to begin. So excited to be a thought partner and a cheerleader on the sidelines and to continue supporting you however you see fit. But I'm happy to say that we've got this far and we made a lot of really good progress together. So thank you for having us along for the ride.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you and the team from Ed Elements. We appreciate your facilitating and helping us through this process. Any other comments on this? Thanks, Drew. Okay. Well, if no one else has anything to say, this is an action requested item. I'd like to make a motion. Okay, go ahead and make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the strategic vision plan as presented with caveat that we change out a photo and adjust a typo, right? But that we can approve that as a board tonight.
I would like to second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. This is kind of exciting. It's, I know. Well, yeah, I think at some point we will. Maybe when our other two colleagues are here, that would be great. So, all right. Next on the agenda is item 6B, Land Trust and TSSA plans for the 2022-2023 school year. I will turn the time over to Alice Peck from School Performance.
That's quite the tough act to follow. But as of this evening, all of our TSSP and land trust plans have been uploaded to your Google Docs so that you can begin or continue to review those. Just as a reminder, we're hoping by May 3rd to be able to approve all of the plans that have 2 signatures. And I do hope having some additional time this year's been helpful. I'd love your feedback on that because I want to make sure we continue that for you in the future. Just wanted to also let you know that as you're reading those plans, if you put comments in the comment boxes, I get an email letting me know that you've made those comments, and I will do my very best to get back to you the day that you give me those comments after I've had a chance to see if I can answer the questions or have the principals answer those. So I'm hopeful. I think you will also get an email back from me when I have a response. But if you're not getting those, please let me know. Any questions?
Mrs. Mybauer?
More a comment than a question. I just wanted to thank you. You've given us even more time than last year. Thank you so much for that. I know it was a bit of a schedule trick with everything, We sure appreciate that. And also, I just really appreciate you do an excellent job of answering right away with those comments. And I know it's a heavy lift and there's a lot of work. And I just wanted to thank you. I really recognize the extra time this year and thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or thoughts? Mr. Millibird?
Alice, you said those are out on Google Docs now.
Yes.
What should I be searching for? I'm not seeing it online.
Oh, okay. I will resend an email with the link.
When
That-
did they go out?
I sent one on March 28th and another one. I can't remember. There was one last week, I believe.
I'm just searching for a file and I don't know what to search for. I just
Okay.
searched for TSSA. I could search for,
Yeah, I will actually send you something tonight and make sure I'll double back around with you to make sure you have what you need.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? I know I'm very appreciative for the advanced time. I've been able to already read through several of the plans from the schools that I was assigned to read. And so far, I'm really impressed with the work that has been done. And it's really helpful to me to be able to feel like I can spend a little more time on each plan. And
Well, and I'm going to give a lot of credit to Margene Weller, my personal. She's gone above and beyond to read these plans. We haven't caught all the mistakes, but we've hopefully caught most of them, but could not do it without her. She's just been so amazing and so helpful. And she's really a big part of the reason why we were able to get those to you earlier.
please give her our appreciation as well.
I will.
And then just a reminder, board, I know Alice mentioned this as she began, but the hope is that by most of the plans, we'll have 2 board member signatures by next board meeting, which is the 3rd of May. And then that will be on our consent agenda, that all plans that have 2 board member signatures will be considered approved. And that the way you sign it is also on Google Docs, where there's the name of the school and then who's assigned that, and then an opportunity for you to acknowledge that you've read and approved that plan. Any questions? Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, item 6C, policy update. We'll have a policy update on 500.24 student educational travel and policy 500.46 home and hospital instruction. This is a second reading with possible action. And I will turn the time over to Mr. Jeff Christensen, Assistant Legal Counsel.
Thank you, President Tingy. As you recall, in our last meeting, we brought 2 policies forward for a policy update. The first one is our student educational travel. What we're doing in this policy is just adjusting the gross fee cap for student overnight travel to be consistent with the school's fee schedule for the upcoming school year. And then we also added an exception as part of our standard criteria for overnight travel for region competition that may be in close geographic ranges where we may need to have an overnight travel experience for the students, but it would not count against the school's 15 overnight travel experiences per year. That's this policy. And then the other one as part of the update is our home and hospital instruction. We modified some procedures in that to update it for really sort of time is our time really with online schooling at this point, and also to address boundary issues. When the policy was originally drafted and inherited from Jordan School District, teaching looked a bit different. Now at this point, we do have students that come in via open enrollment, and they can be with us for a time period. So we adjusted some provisions to allow us to service those students. And then our student services department can review their eligibility over time as needed. And then we also added some procedural safeguards in the policy to address IEP issues for students receiving services, and also 504s, and then also adding some review processes as outlined in the attached red line. Again, these are both for second reading possible action, and I can answer any questions.
Questions, comments, board? I don't see any questions or comments. Anything? Okay, then this is listed as possible actions, so a motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the policy updates, including 500-24 student educational travel, 500-46 home and hospital instruction.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Oh.
You can second it.
So I think that second was from Mrs. Oaks. Okay, so any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next item is item 6D, Midbell Area Elementary Schools Boundaries. This is a second reading. I will turn the time over to Mr. Leon Wilcox, Business Administrator.
Thank you, President Tingy and board members. This is pretty much the exact same presentation we gave at our last meeting on March 29th. That was an update. This is an official second reading of the adjustments we're looking to make in the elementary schools in the Midbell area. You can see all the meetings with the SCCs and the open houses we've had in December, well, going back to November and up through February. We had to postpone some of those due to COVID outbreaks. And you can see all the comments that we received and the notes taken of those on the March 29th board docs meeting. We didn't move those forward because there's some 15 different files there, but you can go back and review those if you'd like. Also, we want to just tell you all the communications we've gone over. I want to draw your attention to the last bullet there. That was last Friday. Kirsten sent out what we call a final email to all four, the residents of all four of these school communities. As of 3 o'clock, we have not heard any feedback from those. Again, that email went out Friday, late Friday afternoon. So we haven't heard any big feedback. Really haven't heard much feedback the last several months. So we think this has been communicated out there with that intention. We've gone through and met all the requirements to make a boundary adjustment as far as the time that you have to go through and allowing the public comment. You can see those there. And we did meet with Mont, and I met with Mayor Stevenson back in January to discuss this with him. You can also see, again, our recommendation is the public's and the SEC's recommendation that we go with what we call option 3. Affects all 4 schools, but it's also the least impacted of the 4 options. We're basically moving the number 2, moving the avenues part of Midbell in from East Midbell into Midbell Elementary. And there's a section east of State Street that goes to Copperview. We'd like to move those, or we're recommending they move into Mid Valley. That will help boost the enrollment at the new Mid Valley building. Also aligns much better with the middle school boundaries, which is State Street. So those kids, Mid Valley, then up to Union from there. Those are the only 2 recommendations that we are proposing in this study. Here's the recommended timeline. Again, an update today. Update last meeting, second reading today. We will, if the board's okay, we'll bring this back for your final approval next meeting, the May 3rd meeting. We want to emphasize this will not go into effect next year, but the following year, the 23-24 school year. So I think we'll still remain for next school year. So with that, that's the whole presentation. Any questions or comments?
Questions or comments, board? Mrs. Nybar?
I just have one, Vermont. How did you feel with the meeting with the mayor and the SCCs and things? Since this is your area, how did you feel everything went?
Holly, the meetings with, or the meeting with the mayor, the meetings with the SECs in every one of the elementary schools, the open houses that were held, it was very, very consistent that I'll leave the mayor to the last. The SECs and the open houses, the people that attended unanimously went for option 3. It was felt like even though some schools would be benefited more by other options, they could see that it would harm other schools in the Midbell area. And they felt like this was the most fair of all the options. We went through this with the mayor and with the city manager. I wanted to say planner, but that's not the right word. City manager with Matt Dahl. And they understood what was happening and they were fully supportive of it. So yeah, I think all we're waiting for is May 3rd to make it final.
Well, you know your community. I remember in long range planning committee, this was something you thought would probably be what people wanted the most. There were 3 options and you were saying this or the other one, and you were right. So I hear all the time when I'm around that Mont sure goes to those schools and knows his community. So thank you for that explanation. I appreciate knowing the back end of things. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Wilcox and Mr. Millerberg, all who have really worked hard to get this information out to the community and listen to them and bring this back. So we will see this back then on the next board meeting agenda with action requested. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item is item 6E, information from Salt Lake County Parks and Recreation Committee. I'll turn the time over to Mr. Mont Millerberg.
We met this last week with the Salt Lake County Parks Advisory Committee. And there were a few schools that had submitted requests for fee waivers. 2 of our schools, one in Granite, I can remember, and I can't remember what the others were. The fee waivers that were requested were for Bellevue Elementary, or what was soon to be Glacier Hills. And where they're being housed out at Crescent View, they wanted to have an activity, and they wanted to go to the, what is it, Big Bear Park? Bear Park. Whichever, it's what? Bear Park. I always called it Big Bear. I don't know why. The other request came from Union Middle School, and they wanted to go over to Union Park below Hillcrest. The fee waivers were granted, but the request that that they had for us is that rather than have the individual schools go through the process of requesting a fee waiver, they asked if we would have the individual schools contact the administration, the school board, and then have us as a representative from the school district take those to the parks advisory committee so they could be approved that way. And so I superintendent, I guess if you can just put that word out that if people need those. There was some discussion about the great partnership we have between the school districts and Salt Lake County Parks. And one proposal that was made was that we not have to go through a fee waiver, that when our schools want to use the park during the week at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when nobody wants to be in the park anyway, that we just be able to grant them the use rather than waive a fee. Okay.
Okay, so
And the forms that they would use are attached to the agenda.
Mrs. Schill?
So are you saying they want the board to approve it or they want the superintendent to approve it?
They would like me as a representative for Canyon School District to bring those requests to the meetings that they could then work off of those. What they were saying is, I spoke up and advocated strongly for fee waiver for our two schools that had requested those because we have circumstances extraordinaire where both of the schools are under construction and they don't really have a site in the neighbor, close to the school because the schools are under construction to have that happen. And they just asked that as the representative from the Canyon School District that I would bring those, as would the people from the other districts in Salt Lake County, so they could advocate for their own districts and have a better feel as to why it's being requested.
Okay, so the schools would actually maybe give it to the superintendent and he would give that to you.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
That would work much better than giving it to me directly if somebody that's on the ground all week long would get it.
And how often does that committee meet?
We meet on a monthly basis.
So is it something that they would need to, you would only turn it in at a monthly meeting? Or is there a way?
In
that you
order
could
to
submit it?
receive a fee waiver, it has to be approved by the committee.
Mhm.
And where they meet only once a month, that should be in before that meeting. So, I would think the schools would be wanting to look at least a 60-day lead time, if not more.
Okay, and I'm wondering, it might be helpful if you gave the superintendent so he could pass it out to the schools, a schedule of when those meetings are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's easy to do. I'll just look at my calendar and forward that to him.
Yeah, it just might kind of give them a idea of when the meetings are.
Okay.
Superintendent, did you have a comment?
So, yeah, I think Susan works with the county on this, in this area already, so we might work it that way through her back to Mont too, if that's okay. Susan, that'd be all right. Okay, all right, thank you. It's great.
Thank you, and thank you for representing us on that advisory council or committee or whatever it's called.
I don't mean to brag, but I got all the fun assignments.
Well, thank you. It is a good partnership. I know I was able to sit in on that committee a few years back as a substitute representative, and it's a great committee and good partnership. So thank you. Okay, that concludes the items listed on our business meeting agenda. And so if there's nothing else that anyone would like to bring up, anything? No. Okay, so with that,
Only thing I want to say,
Yes,
can we do
go
this
ahead.
every meeting?
Yeah, so before I adjourn the meeting, I would just like to invite all those that are here with us and let those that are listening in know that we will be celebrating our Teachers of the Year from each school at Hillcrest High School, beginning in just a few minutes. And so we appreciate our teachers and we look forward to spending a little bit of time with them. And thank you all for being a part of our meeting this evening, and wish you all a great rest of the evening. Meeting is adjourned.